there, I'm Anaiis Salles, Patreon Sage on YouTube, and Anaiis Salles Sourced Solutions on Patreon. Thank you for stopping by my channel and or my Patreon page if you're watching this on Patreon. Fantastic. As you may know, I do intuitive card readings on my YouTube channel as a way of having a conversation about the Ascension journey and how sacred union plays into that ascension process that we're all in one way or another, and also how I, in a sense, recognize the language differences that people will use between sacred union and twin flames. I think predominantly twin flames tend to focus on the beloved other in a physical body, whereas sacred union is about understanding that your first and foremost union is with the source, the energy that created you, and I'm not talking about your mother and father. So in this other short video, I'm going to talk about negative intent, because when we're involved either in the twin flame journey or we're on sacred union adventures, you'll hear other people talking about clearing our emotions, and you'll hear the words pain body, and you may not exactly know what that means if you're just starting out on this journey, and many people are just beginning, because we've got another whole wave coming in to really push us forward in a very dynamic way into 2020 as the ascension process continues. So let's talk about what are thought of as negative emotions. Well, a lot of people think of anger as a negative emotion. I would say that there are feelings that we can have, and we can translate those feelings and think of them as emotions, but emotions are energy in motion. So any emotionally based movement in your body or in your energy field could be joy, could be pleasure, could be happiness, could be sadness, could be disgust, could be frustration, could be blame, could be resentment, could be curiosity. These are all movements of energy that we could characterize as emotion. When we get into negative intent, we're talking about emotions and thoughts and directed thought and emotional energy that we send out into the world that reflect a hatred of Source, our creator of everything, that reflect hatred of ourselves, and that reflect hatred of others, people we don't even know. So when we're engaged, and I'm going to use my little cheat sheet here, when we're engaged in those emotions, we are in fact creating. We are co-creating with all of the natural elements here in the 3D, three-dimensional domain that co-create with us to show us who we are and how our souls are evolving. And I'm not talking about religion here. So when we engage in hatred of Source, self-hatred, or hatred of others for no legitimate reason other than they may be different from us in one way or another, but their basic humanity, we hope in most instances, is pretty well very much like our own. When we engage in that kind of negative intent, it becomes negative because we are taking our beautiful source-sparked quanta, our love light, and we are destroying it. And we are diminishing our own quanta of light. And you know what, folks? Unless we have gone through an ascension process, we're not necessarily plugged into feeling like we have a right to any kind of an eternal life. I don't know. I certainly wouldn't want to take the chance on that. So when I'm looking at where And if and whenever did I have an opportunity to be manipulated, and manipulated is an important word here, to hatred of source. Well, when my 2-year-old, my 18-month-old to be exact, was diagnosed with rheumatoid juvenile arthritis, he was 18 months old. How in the world could he have possibly deserved to be in the pain that he was in? That's the kind of situation where we can be manipulated into blaming source, blaming God for that kind of a development, when it's much more complex than that. And fortunately, I was able to realize the complexity of that situation and to guide my son and myself into a relationship in which he was physically healed. Physically healed. Later on in life, he had some additional challenges that came his way through our relationship and the family that I made with my then partner, his father, that put him into a situation where he's had a great deal of emotional healing to do, and I'm sure he'll be working on that for the rest of his lifetime. Self-hate. Do you ever look in the mirror, a full-length mirror, and just like close your eyes because you don't want to see your own body? Do you feel that you're so unattractive that you feel that other people look away from you or don't want to see you? That can turn into self-hate. And so these kinds of moments, and they can build up over time. You know, they can. These are love light eaters. And every time you engage in that kind of a dynamic, you don't realize that what you are co-creating in that moment is a loss of your own beautiful, clear life force energy. Well, I could go on and on about this for hours, but I won't. So if you're interested in finding out more about how this works, especially in the timeline now where we are being manipulated by the very technology that most of you are addicted to, come and find out more. I'd be happy to share that information with you. Come to my Conscious Co-Creation Masterclass. It's starting up again in October. There'll be a link below this little mini video so that you can sign up. And I look forward to sharing some really basic information with you there. You might be surprised. You might be surprised at how you already have the tools working within you and you don't even recognize them. But I can help you recognize the natural tools that you were born with, even in this body that you may not be so fond of. You can awaken from that kind of a nightmare that you are sleepwalking through your daily life, not loving who you are, not loving how you came into this world. This is your opportunity to take all of that in hand and ascend that dynamic out of negative intentionality. Okay, ciao. Look me up, check out my readings, and do click the link below and come join us in the Conscious Co-Creation Masterclass. You'll be glad you did. So I'll talk to you more about this, but if you're interested in studying with me, I'd love to have you. I'm getting lots of beautiful questions now. And one recent question that I got was talking about activated strands of DNA and how our lives change and who we become when our DNA is activated, and what we can decide that we want to devote, how much time and energy and attention to opening up to the process of DNA activation. And I will share that that's a very fluid process right now, and there's so much beautiful energy moving into the 3D domain, three-dimensional domain. We have first dimension, second dimension, and we experienced ourselves physically in the third dimension, but that's all, that whole deck is being reshuffled right now. And Sacred Union and also the Twin Flame Journey is part of that deck being reshuffled. So I will include information on how you can join in on this online class, which will begin in October. And it's a course that we meet once a week for 6 weeks, so it'll get you finished up in time for you to begin to think about what you want to intentionally co-create for you in your soulful evolution in 2020. And it's going to be a big year for all of us, and we need to be making really conscious choices about who we are, why we are, how we are, wherever we are.